crop here again in the fall.
Yep, they do. Very abundant in the fall. So you're seeing that I don't really band a lot of birds in the spring, which is one reason I started discontinuing spring banding. The birds are high, as you've noticed. In the fall, first of all, you got at least 3 times more birds because you got all the young of the year that are passing through. And because they eat fruit more than and invertebrates on the forest floor more than they eat caterpillars that are feeding on new leaves, they're a lot lower. So I also have a higher probability of capture. And as I told you on Monday, I'm really interested in this invasive species aspect, what fruit they're eating. So now, this fall will be my 3rd year of looking at what they're pooping out. It's a nice low-tech way of finding out what they're eating because they pass the seeds in basically. And all the seeds out here, I've taken samples of all the berries that they have potential to eat. And I have a reference sample, and I can actually identify what species of fruit that they're eating. And they are, in fact, eating a lot of buckthorn and honeysuckle, which are invasive species. So even in an area like this where we try to do some management and take out invasive species, my goal ultimately is to say, if you've got an area that's got, say, a lot of honeysuckle and a lot of buckthorn, which species should we be removing first before we can get native species replanted? Because if you take it all out, these birds aren't going to have much to eat. So that's an important management tool. Nobody's looking at this in urban areas. Urban areas look very much like this. A lot of invasive fruit. So let me just let this bird go. If anybody's interested in a PDF of a copy of my research, I can give it to you. We also have a blog called Net Results, and you can find it on the RRBO webpage. And I kind of summarize the paper in non-technical terms. The statistics are separately so rrbo.org.
You know, I can see if I can put the link to the RRBO webpage on the C-Tools course page.
It's eating buckthorn and honeysuckle.
So,
that's why we're going to need, I've got probably only 100, what I have to do is, like, they poop in the bag, generally speaking. If they don't poop, they don't have a chance to hold on to the bird until they do. So I've got probably 150, 200 samples of poop right now. If anybody's interested in looking at poop, it's a project. So eventually, because I actually get poop not only from the birds that I haven't recaptured the first capture, I'm getting some poop from birds that have been recaptured, so I know for sure that's what they're eating, and I'll be able to correlate that with the birds that are gaining weight. And hopefully one day I'll be able to have a large enough sample size that I can actually find out, hey, buckthorn is better than honeysuckle. Or when I'm finding out with these different species of thrushes, there seems to be a preference. Hermit thrushes seem to love buckthorn, whereas green cheek thrushes are eating grapes. They all come through at slightly different times in the fall. Basically, when any of them get here, all the native fruits have been stripped by robins and starlings, like the dogwood that have high lipid content. They're supposed to be really good for gaining weight. So it may be that these birds have a preference because by the time they get here, that's the only thing that's left. Or it may just be because they prefer it. They actually have a species-specific preference. And I'm going to have a student, and I think have more than one student, go out and actually tag some of these plants and count berries and see how quickly in the next few years they're actually stripped from the trees. And that will help tell me how they coincide with the migration trees for each bird.
So in terms of management for finding native plants that would propagate quickly?
We see, we see some of the native plants that they're eating, which includes grapes, Virginia creepers. Interestingly enough, there's 2 species of buckthorns out here, common buckthorn and glossy buckthorn. And I would say common buckthorn is a little bit more common, but they hardly ever eat it. I'm not finding, and the seeds are very distinctive between the 2 species, which is a real surprise to me. Even in the first couple of years, I'm finding out some kind of fascinating things. I've never been so intrigued with poop since probably I was 3 years old.
It'll be interesting to see if the nutritional quality is.
Yeah, I'd like to have somebody who's like an environmental science major or something, actually do it, because nutritional quality, some of that work has been done in other areas, but it turns out that because of soil quality and a lot of other factors, it can vary from site to site, could even vary from year to year. So there's a lot of work to be done.
So then if nutritional value of invasive species is the same or better than if there's really any need to really get rid of them?
Well, that's a good question. The knee-jerk response is they're bad and they do take over, as you can probably tell out here. So the typical reaction is they're bad, we have to take them out. And maybe that's not true. First of all, we know now that they're performing an ecological function, that if there are no native species, would be really a detriment to these birds if they were removed. Some new physiological data is coming out that, for a long time it was thought high lipid fruits with a lot of fat, good, they gain weight. High sugar foods like honeysuckle, that just have a lot of starch in them, bad. It's like candy, empty calories. Well, as it turns out, these migrant birds, especially long-distance migrants, their entire physiology, digestive physiology changes. And they actually need high-starchy foods. And it can be quick energy, and it can actually help them gain mass. And that's something that is sort of beyond my expertise of bird physiology. It may be that these are fine for these birds. You know, we're just still learning. There's been 50 years of work done on avian preferences of fruit. We're just scratching the surface. So, you know, there's still, we have all these books and journal articles, and you think you know everything about birds, and really there's a lot left to learn. So that was one of my favorite birds. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll catch a great thrush for you. Veeries is actually the most abundant bird passing through here right now. Some of them do nest in southern Michigan because I only want to look at birds that are just passage migrants. I don't use those in my study, but I'm a thrush, great thrush. And they make great surrogates for other birds because a lot of birds eat fruit in the fall. Red-eyed vireos come down the road and fruit. A lot of warblers eat fruit, so it really make a nice study to look at other species that eat fruit. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Julie.
Thanks.
Add to wild geranium.